Grizz Games Let's Play. I am Grizz, and we are playing Torment, Tides of Numenera. We're just about to go up against Inafir, Kiyatawa, and hopefully be helped by this third guy here. We have cleared 2 paths, so I think that's going to make the final boss stronger, maybe the Maw a lot stronger, so we need to watch out for these smoky areas around the sides here. But we're mostly healed up. We might top ourselves off and then just try and do this in a one-shot. Just rail them with as much damage as possible. Try not... hopefully not have to heal way too much in this encounter, because we just do it real quick, right? Alright, so here we go. Grizz Games.
Try to tame your enthusiasm, will you?
Goes against... Okay, so we gotta have a little chat with these folks.
I wasn't playing anything.
My friend, he cries. I'd nearly given up hope of seeing you again. And here we are, in a haunted and murderous land. Pema, what are you barking at? The foul leader of these children awaits us. Okay. There's someone at the door or something. 1 second. Sorry about that, folks. Dog is apparently afraid of vacuums. It is protecting us all by barking at it. Okay. Of course. If you wish to parley with the villain first, to avoid unnecessary bloodshed, I will wait here until bloodshed is an inevitability. Alright. Okay. This guy's suspect. He hasn't been killing people on the way because we haven't seen those bodies. Yeah, I don't believe this guy. Kiyatawa, I've got to have a little chat with you. It's the investigator. Tell me, was Gizeh afraid when you accused her of the crimes I committed? Did she weep when Folsom pulled the noose around her neck, or did she laugh? She slyly tongues a sharpened tooth. She seemed like the laughing type. You're fucked. I would have found a way to help you. Jesus. So when we first talked to her, she was trying to find a sense of belonging. That was a thought she had rattling around in her head. And she doubted that the Dendro Ahura were where she'd find that sense. So I guess that was a hint that she was going to search out another family, another place of belonging. So even these people don't trust her. Are you happy here? Nah, she's not. Alright, interfere. What you got for us, my man? None leave the gate. There's something hard and sane within his madness. Maybe he's a leader that succumbed to the tyranny of the majority. His cult escaped beyond his clutches. Maybe he was once a good man. He bears the cast-off tattoo, but he's like no cast-off we've seen. Hope, no hope, speak or not, he will die here or not, should not have come. Father's loving touch on every inch of you, born to run along the sunlit lilac, Salah singing, Halai, Halai to the gutsless drum. Such splendid dreams. But you're the one who fell, aren't you? We smelled you cooking in the sky. Always a black omen, a falling star. Our Father in heaven never showered gifts, no. Sows trouble, and the reaper comes to harvest. Crops we all are, till we come a cropper. Now you've wandered far away to where woe holds sway, poorly choosing when you chose woes here beyond the gate. Hate, hate, hate. The children love playmates, your nieces, nephews. They've learned a wild lesson as if from father's lips. Pain, pain, taught with teeth, father did, and I gobbled up every scrap. Now he sneers. But he kissed you, didn't he? Perhaps that's a sharper bite. Life of my life. Why does he have it? What will be done?
I'll remember that.
So we can bluff. I'll use it to destroy you. I feel like that wouldn't, do away with the cause of the problem. I mean, it's just going to apply a salve to the things that occurred because of the problem. Maybe we can help him if he unlocks it for us. Help! He scoffs. You're not the first to flash that fly above me, thinking I'll strike. But I see the barbs hiding inside, ready to hook me at the first bite, ready to drag me out. Excuse me. To where you can gut me, grope about inside me, grabble and garble and gobble what you want of me. He shakes his head. No, little brother. I'll stay down in the muck, and that bauble will still stay safe in its lock. Darkness comes once we unlock the Mirrorcaster. Not quite over you, so much as out of you, as if your eyes were rolling back and staring into the black recesses behind them, into the blacker morass of your mind. And into something blackest of all beyond that. You feel it in your marrow, your fingertips, your gut, a stab of reflective pain, an electric sensitivity, an upheaval of unwholesome chime. Or chime. You're remembering a memory of a moment you never lived, a memory awash in self-loathing. Then the darkness becomes absolute. Okay. In every direction, all is gray. A dreary sky above the calm sea in which you float. The air is wet and lukewarm like the water below. The only sound is the wind's cirrhosis, so faint as to raise no waves. Weightless and alone, you're not deprived of sensations, but relieved of them. For but a moment, you bask in something like rapture, a purely physical bliss that belongs to this body, not to you. Then it's gone, replaced with a rush of... oh god. Of damage and violation. Go away, your mind screams at you. Without your will, against your will, your body convulses. You are no longer floating effortlessly. You are thrashing desperately, trying not to drown. It seems like the situation that we're in is enabled by our unsettled mental state. Let's tell our mind to stop fighting. For a moment, you have control of your body and mind. You sink your claws deep, and no thrashing will shake you loose entirely, but thrash your body does. And so does your mind, as a wild shrieking echoes around you. Out! Out! You can't take this from me. You won't. It's Inifir, only seized by a wild terror it never showed in the flesh. Your body, his body. The flesh that connects you both, twists spastically in the water. Inifir doesn't seem to be trying to drown, but caught up in his struggle against you and panicked by your presence. He doesn't seem to be able to swim or float, either. Why is his mind still here? This never happened before. You slip underwater and discovered you're not alone. Dozens of corpses bob around you. Some just a few feet from the surface, some in the darker depths. Among them is Choi Katsul, one of the ones we want to save. It's no longer quiet. What has seemed the whisper of a breeze was in fact the droning of the dead. Now, with the water's amplification, you can hear them distinctly. Filth! Worthless slut. Traitor. Nobody. Monster. Some cheer. Shame. Shame, moans another. Another who cries out loud, clear as truth. Choi just weeps. Inifir's consciousness seems overwhelmed by the tumult. Your body stopped, flailing as it is merely sinking. But his enervation affects you as well, and your limbs feel leaden and lifeless. Let's save Choi, man. Or are we gonna snap out of it? Hell no. Every stroke is a struggle. The body is already weaker than the one to which you've become accustomed, and it balks at your commands like a spent anine. Inifir is not working against you, but his will sits between your thoughts and the body's actions. Consciousness may weigh nothing, but his is dragging you down all the same. Helplessly, you gulp for air and swallow only piss, warm water. You fight harder, but you lose even more ground. The weak light of the world is almost falling away. As you sink deeper into the dismal sea, you can make out the shadow of something below the corpses. Something huge and ancient and awful, all teeth and hunger, which I think we've run into, swallowing us up, dominating our party. which needs no words to convey how small and mean and meaningless you are. Loathing wells up, not from below, but from within. Your flesh and mind resonate with that overpowering will, and your body trembles. A single, massive eye opens, and a glance assays your entire self. You realize for the first time that you are naked. You see your spindly limbs and sallow, pock-marked skin, your unsexed, withered, worthless body, and you are ashamed. And then everything's gone, and there is nothing but the liminal darkness between dream and reality, life and death, madness and reason. Speak to Inipir. At first there's no reply, but you know he's in here still, thwarted, sullen. In time he answers you. Who are you? You're not like the others. You're still awake, scheming, grasping. You feel different, like him. How are you here? I've never tasted you. He pauses briefly in his demands, and you feel his consciousness brush against yours. Who are you? For all his frantic questioning, you are not the madman you met beyond the gate. His mind may be cracked, but is not shattered. Okay, I want to help you. I'm a cast-off like you. I want to help you the way Ronos Kaisul tried. Maybe we can help Choi as well. Ronos Kaisul? Inifir sounds incredulous. Do you know what came of his help? He lay gibbering on the floor, spitting obscenities till he bit off his own tongue. They touched him. The Dark Ones. He pauses. You can't help me. No one can. You can only hurt us both. He pulls away and falls silent. Are you still there? Are you still there? Are you there? Oh shit, let's wait. Time passes, or doesn't. The darkness does not lighten, the silence does not lift. Inifir is out there. You can sense him, but only vaguely. Besides him and you, there's nothing here at all. Even the dead are, for the moment, speechless. Shit. I should have told him I was another cast-off. Oh. You try to will yourself awake, but Inifir clings to the darkness. He's interfering. Its solace and solitude forces your flesh back into slumber. So this is how it will be, a test of wills. But for all his resistance, Inifir's consciousness soon retreats into the darkness of your mind, whimpering, giving way. It seems he has little stomach for battle. Keep waiting, keep waiting, keep waiting, keep waiting. Fight him. You're on a hard bed, beneath a coarse sheet. Voices again surround you, their words same as their corpse. Curses. Slut, one chants in an endless mantra. Another whispers, shame, shame, punctuated by the slap of rawhide. But these aren't the voices from the dream, only echoes. Your eyes open. You see as never before. Nothing's added or subtracted, but certain details take on new clarity. The mold blossoming from cracked plaster, the blemishes on the weary, rattled faces of those people wearing at your bedside, the sores weeping on the attendant's arms. You're not just in Inifir's bed, you're in his misery. The Master has spoken. The Master has awoken, the woman cries. She faces the others. Let us give thanks. They kneel. Master, Thank you for redeeming us in our suffering, for revealing how. By receiving the world's cruelty, we may escape the world's bondage. Interesting. Interesting. Central to their philosophy, maybe? Originally, they had good intentions, but greed and madness overcame. Marcia, to emphasize her name, and you stabbed with his feelings for her. Interesting. So this is the woman who served as Ronos' guide. Something else nags at you, but before you can grasp it, Inafir realizes you're still in his mind and howls, "Out!" Inafir, stop fighting me. Force your way into the memories. What is the nagging sensation? I can force my way in. Anamnesis. You plunge deeper into Inafir's mind and remember that day when you first saw the fraud in Marcia's eyes as she told the children that the wretchedness of their lives had meaning. Not just some meaning, but the only meaning that mattered. If you're in a group of people and the leader ever tells you that, you may be in a cult. Life advice with Grizz. She said it like she always had, but he understood then that, like him, she knew that the only secret of suffering was that he had no secret, no purpose. Like all Inafir's thoughts, this one... man, this crisis-initiated thing. This one was a certainty. However loathsome he might be, she was worse. With that one look, Inafir understood that Marcia had come to the same end as him. Miserable among the miserable. Not by fate or misfortune or fault of birth, but by choice. She came to grub for the shabbiest of vanities. Not even the first among the least, but to be the second. So when the dead voices whipped up waves to drown him in self-hate, Inafir knew he could always cling to the fact of her shameless grasping after shame and keep from sinking into oblivion. The memory slips away, and you are back in the bedroom, seeing Marcia all the more clearly through Inafir's eyes. Let's gain an ally. What is the nagging sensation? You try to shut out the room around you, the litanies chanted by the cultists, the sharp sounds of pain being inflicted and received. As the outside world fades, an inner one rises up. The same accusations from the dream resound inside you, not spoken, but understood. A drone of humiliation and loathing and disgust that drowns out the other thoughts and feelings. Still, there is something more. Not the dead, not Inafir, not you. Something a little chime ringing inside your eye. The ward, cries Inafir. He's here! My father is here! Inafir leaps from the bed, fully in control of your shared body. The sheer force of his exuberance sends your thoughts reeling. As adrenaline floods his flesh, you turn giddy, but it only seems to sharpen his thoughts. Now! Children, we are to be tested. His voice is greased with an unpracticed insincerity, but the others cry out in joy. Now comes the one who would steal the keys to the gate and twist the rising path of suffering into a downward spiral. You cross the room in a long, quick stride. But we are not ready. Let us meet him in the gallery. All right. Rough-hewn stairs lead to an enormous room, more cavern than hall, that ends in wooden gates. The chiming of the wards is louder, faster. The chatter of the dead is incessant. But more than anything, you feel the weight of Inafir's will and the bloody purpose to which it is put. All these years, he's expected your father's return. His mind repeats over and over. Not helpless. Not again. Not helpless. Not again. Not helpless. Not again. You know what he knows. That under there are Numenera, that hidden in cracks and crevices, there are ciphers. You see what he sees, the faithful girding themselves for battle. This is not a homecoming. It is an ambush. I want to talk to our father. No, interfered Grizz. I've traced his thoughts from the scars in my mind. I have heard his words from dead lips. He has no more to teach. Interfere nods to Marcia, who hands him a barbed spear, graven with strange geometric glyphs. He dips them in his flesh and wets it tip with blood, your blood, his blood. Let him taste what I have lived, Interfere whispers, more to himself than you. Suddenly, the gates shatter inward. Before the splintered wood and twisted iron even hit the floor, the children had fallen to their knees, sobbing, clutching their ears, helpless. It's not your father who has come. Floating in the breach, wreathed in smoke, is the sorrow. Holy shit. For a moment it makes no move, though it gives no hint as to why. It's not him, Interfere whispers. As he stands, he's as paralyzed as his followers. Marcissa acts first, pushing herself to her feet and shrieking commands. Receive the horror. Embrace it. Stand. Guard the master. Obey the master. The others rise uncertainly while the sorrow abides. Interfere remains stupefied. It will kill you all. You need to spring the traps. Or will we explain what it is? He might not buy into the fact that he needs to spring the traps. Or I can force him to do it. Or I can force him to do it. I want him to be an ally. If we prove our use, maybe he will be. Shit. Okay. We need to hide. We're allies. We need to spring the trap. Your words, your thoughts, make their way to the dark corner of your mind where Interfere is hidden. You feel him stir, numb and mute. A piece of knowledge unfolds. How to trip the traps rigging the hall. It takes no more than a whisper. Rebirth. The room explodes with light and sound. Prismatic beams blast from machicolations. Synth puts something in the corners. Projectiles pepper the sorrow. Energy fields encase it. After the fireworks comes stillness and silence. The sorrow is unharmed. If anything, it's stronger. Wings unfurl, arms stretch, fields shatter, nets sunder, and myriad darts fall free from its body. Worthless, a dead voice whispers. Vain idiot. The sorrow sweeps forward into the hallway, moving so fast you can hardly track it. It swaddles one of the children's in its shifting limbs, and when it releases him, he is simply snuffed out. Not dead, but gone. The sorrow pauses above its kill and seems to read the room again, seeking without finding, but implacable as ever. Okay, it's not doing anything. It's looking for its next victim. Maybe we can study it. It's an object that defies scrutiny. You are certain that it's the same thing you've faced before, but it's different, and not just in subtle ways. Its texture and even anatomy seem altered, and indeed they continue altering before your eyes. But exactly how it is changing, you cannot say. Just as you cannot manage to wrap your mind around its contours. The more you look at it, the more your head aches. No, not your head. Something else, something more fundamental. Whatever it is inside you that calls the tides and answers them. That is where the pain is. At last, you break your gaze, unable to maintain it any longer. As the sorrow begins to stir again, Marcisa grabs you by the shoulder, her nails drawing blood. Enough! She hisses. She pulls you back, and you find yourself following. She's pulled into your back too, it seems. As you retreat, Marcisa cries out, "Stand! Rise upon the pain!" The slaughter that ensues behind you is strangely silent. Shuffling steps, half-hearted battle cries, smothered deaths. Marcisa hurries you through the warren, and you pass through another gate. This one not made of wood and iron, but solid azure steel. As you pass through, the vault seals shut behind you. Continue. Got a throne of thorns here. The room has the faded opulence of a lost civilization. The ornate reliefs carved from the granite walls has crumbled and eroded to abstract deformities. Ancient, flickering lights line the ceiling. Their humming resonates with the metal floor, and their bluish light illuminates the tarnish. In the center of the room, a silver throne rests on a dais. Unlike the floor, the throne shines as if recently polished. Tiny, gleaming needles line the armrests like a halo. And a halo-like ring hangs above the back. Marcisa is doubled over, gasping for breath. Retching, your own body, weak as it may be, is untroubled. In there's gone, again, yet something lingers, like spores from his mind, infecting yours. So we can learn what it does to cast off, so we can try and rescue Troy. Or we can take a second and examine the... Okay. Okay, we look at it. Marcisa rises. How does the throne work? It's a mystery. When you sit upon it, we shared in the ecstasy of your suffering. When the Sibyls sat upon it, they shared their dreams. Only the Herefi, who's assembled it for them, could say how it works, and he has long since turned to dust. I only know enough to activate and amplify the device. You know Inafir hears you. You feel him pondering, the weight of his thoughts shifting beside your own. At last, in a low hiss, he answers, "You're a fool. If you want this burden, take it." Then his mind stabs into yours like a syringe, and the echo of Choi that survived inside him is now inside you. He withdraws, but she remains. It's as if a pall has settled over your consciousness. Inafir seems about to speak, but in the end he says nothing. In the recesses of your mind, you hear a faint weeping. Whatever your grief, this will surely be a better home for her. Suddenly, a huge blister forms on the vault door, glowing white. Moments later, another blister rises, and the huge ancient barrier begins to take on the look of a leper's face. That the door is yielding to the sorrow is perhaps less surprising than it is not holding at all. Indeed, it seems that the barrier has some life in it still. Oh, that it is holding it all. Despite its disfigurement, there are not any signs yet of structural failure. Okay. Inafir can redeem himself by facing the sorrow. We can give Marcisa an out. Or we can face it ourselves. He doesn't answer your call. We're trying to talk to him, but you can hear him whispering to himself, or perhaps to the dead souls who haunt his mind. The gate, the gate, the gate, he says over and over again. Eventually, thoughts rise up from the ferments of his terror, and you understand how he opens the endless gate. It's not a tidal surge, or even some cast-off power. It is simply a matter of turning inward and embracing the horror inside him. He doesn't even open the gate himself. The creatures beyond do. He only needs to embrace the suffering, to shine like a beacon across the plains, and they work their way towards him. And now you know how to kindle that flame. For the moment, the vault door still holds, though more blisters have risen and burst across its surface. It's only a matter of time before the sorrow gains entry. Okay, so I can help interfere survive. Oh, God. So if Interfere survives, he may still fight me. Or maybe I'll gain an ally. He can die an honorable death. Or we can face the sorrow. Or we can wait. If we wait, it makes its way through the door, and the situation comes to a head. And then we're going to make a panic choice. But we stand to learn something. We're not going to stop the sorrow, but we might be able to figure out what it does. We can escape. Marcisa will most certainly perish. Or we can call her out. And maybe she'll escape. Save her. Marcisa frowns. We tell her, we know you don't believe in any of this. Master? She begins, before trailing off. She stares intently, perhaps reading Interfere as easily as he read her. Eventually, she shakes her head. You're wrong. There is something I've believed in all this time. If I could help you find some good in all your suffering, prove that it gave hope to others, meaning to others, if I could lighten your burden even a gram. She shakes her head again. We've all suffered, Interfere. There must be something good born from it. Even if it's only a humble lie. Interfere's jaded senses can find no falsehood in her, and you feel him sink even further into despair as he realizes Marcisa is not the hypocrite he believed. We can't escape suffering with lies, Marcisa, only with understanding. Or you've been a good servant. Marcisa shakes her head. No, she answers. The more I understand the world, the more I see to hate. Her sad, ugly face twists in a sad, ugly smile. Sometimes, Master, I'm afraid you've come to understand too much, and now you're alone in the dark truth. But thanks to that, you will shine all the brighter for the children. But you know what Interfere's light draws, and his consciousness stirs and brings forth memories, vague and awful, of the creatures that beyond the gate. Now the doors become mottled. Its alloyed ancient elements are separating. Its alloyed ancient elements are separating. A lattice of hairline cracks appears, and you hear a low moaning as of a beast that has endured too much punishment. The dead voices cackle about vanity and futility and how all that you touch turns to skist. Skist that, man. And the others give their own message. The comfort of a familiar whip and the promise you won't perish. Ah, God. What is this place? This place is a false promise, like all the ones that life make. Oh, shit. Shit. Interfere runs towards the gate as the sorrow bursts through. Closer, closer. You smell the sulfur. But the sorrow has your scent now and moves like the wind. Too fast. No, cries Marcisa, diving between the two of you. She slows it for only an instant. Inifir crosses to a red mist. It's enough. Inifir crosses through. Behind you, the sorrow floats impotently. It cannot or will not cross the threshold. It goes. Then the pain comes. A great wave that washes all else away. You're drowning in it. And at last your mind can bear no more. And with that, we end this episode of Let's Play. I'm Grizz. You're watching Grizz Games playthrough of Torment and Tides of Numenera. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, give me a like, comment, or subscribe. If you have any feedback, any questions, let me know. I'm here for you guys. We're making a community together. See you in the next episode.